Hi, and welcome back to A Guide to Surviving Stroke and Brain Injury. First of all, today is my 4th anniversary. It's my stroke anniversary. 4 years ago, I had a stroke, and it's kind of bittersweet. I'm so happy I survived, but I'm sad it happened. So it's kind of bittersweet. Today I want to talk to you about emotional changes after a stroke. A lot of times people think you have it on the outside. Like I had my speech, I couldn't talk. My whole right side was paralyzed. I walk like I'm drunk, And so a lot of times people think it's only on the outside. It's only physical changes that occur when you have a stroke. And I just want to educate people that, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be emotional, but emotional changes after stroke. So it depends, on what it affected, what part of your brain. Some people don't have emotional changes with stroke, and maybe you've seen somebody that doesn't, so you think that all people that have had strokes are not affected emotionally, and I'm one of the people that it was. Although we cannot see our feelings or thoughts, changing emotions often lead to a change in behavior, which may signify that all is not well. I want to explain why have my emotions been affected. So if your emotions or behavior has been affected and have changed since your stroke, or you feel different, which I do. I notice a lot of times I wouldn't have done that back before the stroke. You know what I mean? So this may be partly caused by physical damage in your brain. Different parts of the brain control different parts of the body. And if the part of your brain that controls your emotions were damaged, that is why. This can signify how you can change how you think, how you feel, or how you behave. Which me, I'm all of the above. So no two strokes are ever the same. You've heard me say that before several times, because it's a part of the brain that is affected and the extent of the damage. So you may experience different symptoms to someone else who has also had a stroke, okay? So as well as the physical damage caused, it is normal to experience a change in your emotions after any difficult, traumatic life experience, which having a stroke, I don't know about you, but it was very traumatic for me. Stroke happens without any warning. It takes time to come to terms with the changes that a stroke can bring to your day-to-day life. So for me, I don't think I fully accepted that I had a stroke. I mean, I know I had a stroke, logically. But to me, I'm so stubborn that I think I'm going to be better someday. This may be true. This may not be true. But as far as I believe, it's going to be true. So don't be surprised if you feel anxious, depressed, frustrated. I'm very frustrated. Angry or bewildered. All of these feelings are very common in a stroke patient. So approximately 1/3 of stroke survivors report experiencing some emotional problems after stroke. Usually they will fade away with time and you will begin to feel better. But some of the times emotions arise that are more persistent, and you may need coping mechanisms to help you deal with that. One of the most common changes in emotion after stroke is depression. Depression for me, I feel that there is a difference between sad, and depression. But I don't know what that signifies. So I'm depressed because my life changed overnight. I'm depressed because I cannot function like I used to, like riding, eating, walking, riding a bike, jogging, dancing, you name it. I can't do it anymore, but I will. But I mean, I have difficulty with that, accepting that I used to be able to do those things and now I can't. So that makes me sad. And as you know, if you watch my previous videos, all my family left. And that's why I want to talk about emotional changes after stroke, because I just want people to realize, caregivers and family and friends, whoever, I want them to know that it's not our fault. We had brain injury. So it'd be different if all of a sudden I was normal one day and I was like being really mean the next and I didn't have a stroke. Then that could be caused by something else. But we know that how I used to be before the stroke. So why is it so unfeasible for people to realize that the changes in our brain cause changes in our emotion? So some other ones that you may be experiencing are anxiety, which I experience, emotionalism, having difficulty controlling your emotions. So I would laugh uncontrollably for no reason. Nothing was funny. But that, as you can see, hopefully that has gotten better. I cry. I still cry. I cry when I get mad. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm happy. So before the stroke, I was able to control those things, and I'd feel like crying, but I wouldn't. Now I can't help it. When I'm scared, I can't help it. I cry. And it's embarrassing and humiliating, and I feel like I'm crying for no reason, but I can't control it. I can't stop it. Personality changes. So before, I was an advertising consultant. I could go up to anybody and start a conversation with them. I was outgoing. I was funny, I think. Maybe it wasn't, but I am saying that I was. And I mean, there were so many. I was loving, I was caring, and now I'm afraid. I'm afraid of big social gatherings. I'm afraid of going to Walmart by myself. Last year, I had an experience that I'm going to say at Carl's Jr. I went through the drive-thru, and they forgot to turn off the speaker, and they were making fun of the way I was talking. That was hard, so I didn't go for like 2 weeks. So my name is Gay, so I've dealt with stuff like this before, and now it bothers me to the point where I don't want to face anything, but I'm overcoming it. And the lastly but not leastly is anger. So I think I've discussed in my previous videos anger, and I think I've begun to control it, but we'll get into it. Anxiety is both a physical, and a psychological response to a frightening situation. If you are anxious, you will probably have feelings of fear or unease. At the same time, there is an increase in blood flow to the heart and muscles preparing us for action. You've heard of flight or fight, right? That's the same thing. At the same time, this can be accompanied by sweating, rapid heart rate, and shortness of breath, dizziness, and tremors. Anxiety can suddenly arise or may develop slowly over a long period of time. So after a stroke, you might experience fears or worries connected to your health, which I do. I live alone, and all the time, every time something happens, I'm like, am I having another stroke? Who's going to find me? I live by myself, nobody talks to me. Who's going to find me? Might be a month. Who's going to take care of my dog? You know? I mean, but these are some of the most commonly reported worries, okay? So having another stroke like I did, or TIA, particularly whilst out in public or whilst asleep. Being unable to communicate in an emergency, for example, to call an ambulance. So if I get excited or I'm really nervous, I can't talk. If the words just don't come out right, never. And I don't know how to explain it, but hopefully you're experiencing the same thing and you can understand. And yes, I'm talking normal now, but I'm not in a stressful situation. Being unable to drive or return to work, which I am, thank God I'm blessed that I can drive. But my old job, I don't think I could do it because of my anxiety, my speech. I can't see, so I clean because that's the only thing that I can do right now. Okay. Taking medication, worrying about any side effects and whether it's helping. So I'm on warfarin still, 4 years, but I'm kind of confused about it. So I have an appointment with my neurologist, my first time since I had the stroke, by the way, on Friday. And I'm going to ask him, should I still be on warfarin? Because my first stroke was I had a blood clot, so that would constitute Coumadin, a blood thinner. But my second stroke was a PONS, and that was a brain bleed. And so the blood thinner causes you to not stop bleeding. It's hard to stop bleeding if you're on it, you know what I mean? And so I'm confused. So I'm going to talk to him about that Friday, and then also, does it cause weight gain? Because I've gained so much weight since I had my stroke. I'm afraid of falling. So every time I get in the shower, I pray to God that He doesn't let me fall. No falls, no falls. That's what I say the whole time I'm in there. Every time. And it's been 4 years. And when I do stuff, I do stupid stuff. But I mean, I live by myself, so changing a light bulb. As you can see above me, one of these light bulbs went out, so I got the ladder. And I get super dizzy still. And so when I look up, it's even worse. So I say, no falls, no falls, no falls. And if I get too scared, I just say, screw it, and that's it. Like, can you see? I have a smoke detector, but it's 15 feet up. So the last time I called the fire department to change my battery because it wouldn't go off. It wouldn't stop going off. Anyway. So, I'm also feeling embarrassed in situations. I'll get into that later. Understanding how to get help from social services. And waiting for test results and follow-up appointments. I get so anxious and worried that it's going to be bad news. I was an optimistic person before, and now I just feel dread. I thought I had COVID-19, and I went and got tested, and it took 2 days to get the test results back, and I was sicker than a dog, and I thought, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And then it came back negative, but I still felt like I was going to die for 2 weeks. Never feeling any better. So, as you all know, I do a lot of exercises. I try to do a lot of exercises. And some days I feel like I took 2 steps forward and 7 steps back. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. And feeling family members have an increased risk of stroke. I'm worried about my son, because my mom, she passed away from a TIA. She had 5 TIAs, and she was only 68, and she died. So, I now have had a stroke, so I'm so incredibly worried that my son is going to be a high risk for a stroke. Some anxiety is to be expected, and is normal and healthy. okay? It often reduces in time. However, if anxiety persists for a long time and begins to feel overwhelming, then you may have developed an anxiety disorder that you need to get some help with. So here are some signs that you can look for. You feel irritable, have difficulty concentrating, or get tired very easily. You are avoiding things you would never normally do, like going out to see friends or going shopping or something. You have trouble sleeping because you are worrying so much. Sometimes I can't shut my brain off when I go to sleep. I can't explain it, so Jessica also has this problem, and she takes a sleeping pill because she cannot shut her brain off. You're spending a lot of your waking hours thinking about things which worry you. You have a persistent feeling of dread with physical sensations like racing heart or restlessness. A good start to reducing feelings of anxiety is to seek out information. Be informed. Being informed takes away the fear that arises from uncertainty and gives you some control, some control of your situation. Like there are a lot of local groups you can go to that, like I used to go to a stroke survivor group at the Y, and I found, me personally, I have found that only other stroke survivors can understand what I'm going through. I'm on a female stroke survivor group on Facebook. Often I look up people blogging about having strokes, because I mean, they're the only people I feel that can relate, you know? Another way to reduce anxiety is find ways to relax your mind. Try to find something that works for you and build it into your daily routine. Also, which I'm thinking about doing, is seeing a psychologist. Now, I think a psychologist can't prescribe you anything, so that's why I'm going. But just to be able to talk about how I'm feeling may help me. So I'm thinking about it, but I haven't decided yet. Also, they settle down over time, but if this doesn't happen, you need to see your GP, your general practitioner. So, one type of therapy he can offer, or she can offer, commonly offered, is cognitive behavioral therapy. This therapy aims to help you change the way you think, feel, and behave. I was actually thinking about calling Allison. Remember, I had a video with, she was my speech pathologist, and to help me, because recently I had problems expressing my feelings. And not that I want to be confrontational, but I want to just not keep my feelings to myself, because that doesn't do me any good. That just eats me up inside. So I was thinking about calling her to help me learn to express my feelings, because honestly, I just can't. I can't find the right words. But when I write and take my time, I can usually express myself, but not as good as I used to before. So, sorry. Also, there are medicines out there. I was on medicine before, and I should have stayed on longer, but I didn't, because I thought it was having too many side effects or causing other problems for me, so I got off it. But, I don't know, I should have hung in there and found the right medicine for me. But medicines that treat anxiety directly include, okay, forgive me, I'm going to butcher these, but diazepam, lorazepam, alprazolam and oxazepam, which are from a group of medicines called benzodiazepines. Beozaprine is another type of medicine, and antihistamines, believe it or not, such as hydroxine. The medicines I just gave you are used for a short time basis. They're not long term. But longer term medicines for anxiety include some antidepressant medicines such as sertraline, paroxetine, and venlafaxine. If these are not suitable for you, pregabalin is an alternative medicine. It is used to treat epilepsy, but can be helpful for anxiety. Oh my. Okay. So, emotionalism can arise with many neurological conditions, those affecting the brain and nervous system, and often happens after a stroke. It is a term you may hear if, since your stroke, you have become more emotional than usual, which I have, and or have difficulty controlling your emotions. Other terms for this condition include emotional liability, pathological laughing or crying, and pseudo-bubbler effect. I've talked to you about that before in some of my other videos. So you'll probably find that you have intense emotional reactions when talking to people, watching television, carrying out tasks, or even thinking. I'm laughing because they all are relatable to me. I was just watching a commercial last night, and I don't even remember what it was, and I started crying. I just cried. I'm like, oh, that's so sad. And it's a commercial. But anyway. So, it might be that your emotions are very close to the surface, with the smallest thing setting off. For example, you might get more upset easily or cry at things when you would never have cried at them before. You might also have outbursts of crying, which I do, for little or no reason. Similarly, you may laugh at inappropriate times. Although this is less common, you may even swing from crying to laughing, which I do. These reactions usually do not mirror your actual emotions. Okay? They often seem out of place and come out of nowhere and go very quickly, unlike when you were genuinely upset or happy. They're usually triggers that will cause this type of response. Someone being kind to you, which I've cried at, asking you how you are. If there's something bothering me, that definitely happens. Or talking about something which always makes you feel emotionally normal. So, emotional normally. Sorry. It can all be distressing, especially if you have never been an emotional person before. Like, I was emotional, but I didn't show my emotions. I only showed happiness. I always acted like I was in a good mood. And when I got home by myself, I would go into my room and then I cried. Or, like, I would never show my son that I was upset. I would always wait till after he went to bed and then I would cry. Now, I have no control over it. It can also be particularly difficult if you're a man, because society often expects men not to display their emotions, which I think showing your emotions, if you're a man, showing your emotions and crying does not make you less of a man. It makes you more of a man, in my opinion. I would love a man that would show his emotions, and if he was sad, like, cry about it. Now, I don't want a guy that would cry over, a commercial like I did. No, I'm just joking. But you know what I'm saying, though. It doesn't make you less of a man or a person if you cry. It doesn't. Not to me. It just shows me that you have emotions. Such a loss of control is so upsetting, but you are not alone. And knowing this can be reassuring. I hope it's reassuring. There will be other people who have had similar experiences you could talk to. Contact your stroke survivor group in your town. You can talk to me and Jessica. Now I know about 6 people that have had a stroke, and it helps talking about it. It really does. And especially with Jessica, I'll use her because she's on this channel with me. But she and I could tell each other things and laugh, because it's like, normally it would be so stupid, but she gets it. And we laugh and we say stupid brain all the time, and I mean, it helps. It makes me feel better. It helps me feel normal. It helps me deal with stuff, and it helps them fight depression. So, let's see. So, if you feel embarrassed by any of these things, this is still hard for me to do, but you need to talk openly about it. The more you talk to others, the more people understand. So I just tried with my brother and his wife, and it came out horrible. Horrible. I said the wrong thing. And what I said sounded mean, and I didn't mean for it to sound mean. What I was saying, I'll just tell you. So, I told my brother I wanted to try to learn how to ride my bike. And I just wanted him. And I made him promise, and he said, oh yeah, no problem, it'll be his meet. So, about 2 weeks later, they come over. But Kathy, his wife, was in the car. So, it could have been her son, her daughter, my neighbor. It didn't matter. It was just the surprise of it all. And I tried telling my brother that, and they took it so wrong. They didn't understand. They thought it was because she came along. It could have been anybody. If he would have told me, okay, so my wife is a package with me, and anything you say to me, you can say to her, and we're on our way, she's going to come, I wouldn't have been so surprised, if that makes sense. See, I'm still not explaining it right, but I mean, it turned into this whole big thing, but I can't express how I'm feeling. And it wasn't to like, don't ever do that again. It was more like, please understand, you have to treat me with kid gloves. Like, the next time you come over, say, hey, I got Kathy with me, and I'm going to come over, and we're going to, whatever. And I won't be surprised. It's a surprise that somebody else was there that I wasn't expecting that really messed me up. And once she was here, everything was good. Everything was fine. I mean, I cried a couple of times because I was scared. But I did. I rode to the end of the driveway, which I didn't think I could do. But it just is all messed up, and I'm so worried about losing more people. I'm worried about losing them too, and then I'll have nobody. Because I really do love them. I don't want to lose them, but they're mad at me. Well, my brother says he's not mad. He doesn't understand, but he's not mad. But she is definitely mad at me. So, if you have a way to resolve this, please put it in the comment section, okay? The other thing is, treat people how you would want to be treated. There's no need for others to feel embarrassed or to avoid talking about topics that might cause you to cry. In fact, this may even delay your recovery if you don't. So that's why I'm trying to push myself to do it and hope I get better at it. But if you don't want to get emotional, ask somebody to distract you. That usually helps. Them changing the subject or talking about their feelings or something. It helps distract. If you find it harder to control your emotions with other people or emotional, tell them. So people do not have to change their behavior just because it affects you. Okay? But at least it will not be a surprise if you cry more than usual or choose to leave the room. So as long as you're informing them, hey, I'm probably going to cry, I can't control my crying, as long as they're aware and know it, it won't be a surprise to them. It won't be like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, because just say it'll pass, and it usually does. Don't let people ignore you or leave the room unless that is what you want. Encourage people to treat your emotionalism as a minor inconvenience, and continue the conversation as it will usually go away. It usually does. Touch can be helpful, so if you're feeling emotional, ask for a hug or lean over on somebody or something. Tell people if you're genuinely upset, so it isn't mistaken for emotionalism. So people can't tell the difference. If you cry, they think you're upset about something. And if you're just having an episode, say, I'm sorry, I'm just crying because. And if you're really upset about something, tell them. Tell them, no, this isn't because I'm crying for nothing. I'm upset because blah, blah, blah. Okay? This often lessens or goes away on its own in time, or if you get the medicines that I mentioned earlier, or start to see a psychologist, he may help you decide how to deal with these things, okay? Personality changes. You may become impatient or irritable, which I am. Become withdrawn and introspective, focused inwards, showing a loss of inhibitions, for example, making inappropriate comments or swearing, which I do. I swear a lot more than I used to, and I don't know why. Become aggressive, either verbally or physically, which I have in the past, but thank God that passed. So hopefully you understand it'll pass. Showing a loss of interest in aspects of your life you once enjoyed, which I have. Becoming impulsive, making sudden, sometimes rash decisions, which in the moment I have. And showing more stress and anger. So how you can help yourself is try to take on board other people's comments. If everyone is telling you that they are surprised by your behavior and that you've never acted in that way before, perhaps they're right. Not all behaviors are problematic, but if you have changed, others around you may have a little time to adjust to the new you. If you have become less inhibited, other people may find your comments or behavior upsetting and difficult to put up with. Try to understand how they're feeling. Pause before you speak. So sometimes I can help it, and sometimes I can't. Sometimes I just cuss, and after the fact I think, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have. That was inappropriate. That was wrong that I did it. Seek out information and support, please. So anger. If you experience anger more frequently, like I did, have less control over your outbursts and or get angry over things that would not normally cause you to feel that way, You are likely to direct this anger at your family and caregivers. Number one, you're around them more, so they get the brunt of it. Unfortunately, my dog is the only person I can be angry with, and I don't beat him or nothing like that, but I do yell sometimes, and it's like, it's not his fault. And when I had people with me, I got angry. I had no idea why I was getting angry, but I felt it. And I was like, I gotta get out of here. That's the only thing I could feel, and that is so disheartening because, I know, anger is a natural, healthy emotion. We all feel and show from time to time, particularly during stressful situations, like trying to do a lot of things in a short period of time, or getting soaked by a passenger car in the rain. Passing car in the rain, that came wrong. After a stroke, you may find you experience anger much more frequently, have less control over your outbursts, and get angry over things that would normally not cause you to feel that way. You're likely to direct this anger, like I said, at your family or caregivers. The triggers for this are struggling to do something. Frustration is my main thing. Like getting dressed, which has become more difficult. Other people doing things for you all the time. I get so upset at that, still to this day. Not having enough time to respond during conversations. So that really gets me frustrated because I'm trying to think about what I want to say, and then they talk over me, and I'm like, I haven't even responded to the last thing you said, and so I get confused and I don't hear what they say. And not being able to express yourself, I just told you guys about how my express myself went to my brother and Kathy. It was horrible. Other people making choices and decisions for you, which really make me mad. Getting things wrong. I'm getting mad just talking about it. Feeling embarrassed. Not being able to do something you enjoy because of your disability. For example, when I first had the stroke, this eye was all the way over here, so I still have double vision. But not being able to watch my TV program was so angering because I was like, all I could do was hear it, and if somebody called or rang the doorbell, I was like, I'm gonna miss it. Anyway, I'm tired. Being tired is probably really stressful for me the most. Feeling overwhelmed either by too many people or too many distractions going on around you, making concentration difficult. I went to my niece's wedding shower, and I was so overwhelmed, and that was more anxious than anger, I think. But I had to get out of it. I couldn't even stay the duration for my own niece's bridal shower because I was worried about, I couldn't see who was coming to talk to me, and I didn't know a lot of people, and I was afraid I was going to fall, and I was afraid they were going to trample me, and I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to have a conversation with them, and they played games, and I couldn't see the games, and nobody was helping me, and I was embarrassed by that, and I was just mad. So, anger is normal. It can also have a negative effect on your health. It can cause digestive problems. It can increase your blood pressure. It can lower your immune system, which we don't need with COVID. It can lead to depression. It can lead to addictive behavior such as smoking. Speak to your GP about this, your general practitioner. Also, try doing something physical. So I still can't to this day punch a pillow. I can't jog, or dance. So those would be the normal things I would do before. Pull weeds. Pull weeds was an excellent way I could reduce my anger or stress, But I can't do that. But try looking yourself at the mirror. That you can do. And to see that angry person will help it dissolve immediately. It really does. So try to be aware of how your behavior is affecting others. Okay? Speak to your GP. Find out about any other kind of treatments there are. Next time, I'll talk about caregivers and what they can do. But please leave comments. Please talk to me. Talk to Jessica. We're here to help. We're here to understand, and maybe some of us can, provide an answer. Help you figure out ways to de-stress, de-anxietize, whatever. But comment, and we'll understand. And I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.